Inflation, your savings' biggest enemy, and here's how to beat it. Meet Sharma ji. He loves his morning walks and never forgets to drink his favorite masala chai at the street corner. He's been drinking chai at the same chaiwala since 1980. No wonder he proudly regales stories of how the tea was sold at just ₹2 when he first started drinking tea at the shop. Of course, how over the years the price of chai has risen and the cup has shrunk, thanks to inflation. So, what is inflation? Inflation, in simple words, refers to the rise in the price of products and services over time. It affects every aspect of life: food, clothing, education, homes, travel, healthcare, gadgets, etc. For instance, if your monthly expense for groceries, maintenance bills and leisure is about ₹30,000 in 2020, it won't be enough to meet the expenses 5 years from now. So, if we assume a 7% rate of inflation, you will need about ₹42,000 in 2025, ₹59,000 in 2030 and ₹1,16,000 in 2040. But before you brush this aside with the simple logic that prices tend to rise over time, consider this. Is your income increasing at the same rate, if not faster? Yes? No? Sometimes? If your answer is a no or sometimes, then unlike Sharma ji, you won't be able to indulge in your favorites the same way. You will soon be faced with serious questions. What will I have to give up to prevent going into debt? How will rising costs change my lifestyle? And if these issues occur while you still have a job, can you even imagine the struggle after you retire, especially if you rely solely on what you save? Inflation can be your savings' biggest enemy, but it doesn't need to. Be like Sharma ji, who managed inflation by choosing investment solutions that potentially offered higher returns. He wasn't a financial wizard. He didn't do any investment mumbo-jumbo. All it took was a little planning and some discipline. He invested a small amount every month throughout his career in investment options that returned more than the rate of inflation. Some SIPs in mutual fund schemes, asset allocation moves, and voila! You, like Sharma ji, can enjoy your chai throughout your life. You may consult your investment advisor to make sure your investments grow faster than the rate of inflation. An investor education and awareness initiative of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
For over 140 years, we have partnered India's growth story. A journey with humble beginnings, marked by a meeting of few traders, is today symbolized by a tower that stands for India's glowing financial markets. BSC. Experience the new.
Hello and welcome to the Delhi semi-finals of BL On Campus Boardroom Challenge 2022. I am Srimati Sridharan. BLoC Boardroom Challenge, a unique competition for B scholars, has 3 levels: a preliminary round, a semi-finals across 8 cities and a grand finale. The online tests in the prelims assessed students' decision-making skills and ability to work in teams. Now in the semi-finals, the students will get a chance to meet and compete with the best minds from top B schools across the country and present these strategies. And the teams that make it to the finals will showcase these skills by solving a live corporate case. Now without further ado, let's jump right into the semi-finals. I request Mr. Vinay Kamath, Senior Associate Editor at the Hindu Businessline and Editor of BLoC, to take over.
Welcome all to BLoC Boardroom Challenge 2022. The unique case challenge for B schoolers is in its 6th year. In the first year of the challenge in 2017, Liba Chennai was the winner, followed by ISB Hyderabad in 2018 and IIM Ranchi in 2019. SIBM Pune won the contest in 2020, while IIM Shillong won it in 2021. Till the 2019 edition, the semi-final rounds of the contest was held in 8 cities at B schools which hosted the event. The preliminary round in all the previous years has always been online, where students are administered a psychometric test to assess their decision-making skills and ability to work in teams. The grand finale, where B schools which won city-specific semi-finals competed for the grand prize, has been held in Chennai. From the year 2020, keeping in mind the safety of the students and others involved in this contest during the pandemic, it has been conducted entirely online, including the semi-final rounds and the finals as well. This year too, we are conducting the event online. Semi-finals case will test the participating teams on the knowledge of finance, marketing and strategy, and the decision-making skills and ability to work in teams, while the case for the finals will test the teams on the knowledge of the financial sector. It will again be a unique event with technology overcoming the challenge the pandemic has brought about. May the best team win the 2022 BLoC Boardroom Challenge.
Thank you, Mr. Vinay Kamath, for the lovely introduction. I now invite Ms. Akshaya Chandrasekharan to introduce the jury. Shivakumar, more known as SK, is an Associate Certified Coach from International Coach Federation. He is also a Neuroscience Certified Coach, Certified Practitioner of the Global Leadership 360 Assessment Tool, and Carl Jung Concept Certified Coach, POSH Certified, and Thomas Profiling Certified. He has 30+ years of rich experience across manufacturing, servicing, IT, ITES, hospitality industries and change management, leadership and strategy management, HR, learning and development. SK also facilitates sessions on leadership, behavioral, soft skills apart from mentoring young minds. Neil Ratna Chaubal is currently serving as Content Manager for Investor Education and Distribution Development Team at Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC Limited. He has contributed in the field of corporate training programs across various industries and in academics related to management education for approximately 19 years. Over the years, he has addressed diverse audiences ranging from corporates and educational institutions to clients and distributors of mutual funds. Within the mutual fund industry, he has delivered more than 250 programs for clients and distributors across the western zone of India. He is a postgraduate in MBA from Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Puttaparthi. Hari Vishwanath is the Deputy Editor of Weekly Investment Supplement BL Portfolio. He comes with extensive experience in global equities, having worked at senior roles for US hedge funds and an India-focused FPI in a professional career spanning more than 15 years. He covers Indian and US equities at BL Portfolio and also writes on global markets, macro fundamentals and investing strategies. Hari is an MBA from Great Lakes, Chennai. Parvata Vardhani is a chartered accountant with 15 years of experience in investment research and is currently the head of Weekly Investment Supplement BL Portfolio. Her skills lie in her ability to deep dive into laws, regulations, macros as well as market trends and convert research into actionable product recommendations for the investor. She also specializes in structuring personal investment portfolios. She actively tracks consumer sectors in Indian equities and financial products of all forms. She's a sought-after speaker in investor forums. Thank you, Akshaya. Let us introduce the case study the teams will be tackling. What should be the growth strategy for Environmental Technologies Private Limited? As senior strategy consultants, chart a 5-year path for Envirotech, suggesting what kind of markets, products and investors will help the company maximize stakeholder value. The teams will be marked for 50 points by each jury member. The team with the highest total wins. Here goes the breakup. Understanding of case, 10 points. Case analysis, 15 points. Solution, 10 points. Presentation, 10 points. And teamwork, 5 points. I now invite team 1 to present their case solution.
Hello board members, I Aditya Vikram, CIO of the company. So thanks a lot for giving us this opportunity to handle the project of projecting the growth and helping the company helping the EDPL grow in a sustainable manner, in an effective manner. So Sharad, could you take us to the next slide? Yeah, so like for analyzing any company and its future, it is very important to analyze what are its strengths and weakness. So we have like prepared a SWOT analysis of the company. So what makes the company very very resilient in terms that it has a very resilient team. Like once their setup was washed out, but still they like started from scratch and again buckled up and again made their company profitable. So that is one of the most important thing. Apart from that, like competitive pricing. So in green products, what happens is like products are generally 1.5 times or 1.8 times, sometimes even double the price. But here, in case of this company, our company, the price is close to 15 to 20% more than what the price of regular product is. So that way, that is one of our strengths, and also like we are able to attract good investment opportunities. So we will see if that is feasible for our growth or not. And talking about weakness, so no, like we have not yet patented our product, so the company must look in that way, because opportunity. Any other company who comes up with the same product, so they might create a similar product and we might lose on that. Next, in opportunities, we can see that like in pulp and paper vertical, we have almost 84% markets yet to be addressable. So that is a big opportunity for us. And also like awareness about green products is increasing in India, especially among youth. So that is also an opportunity, and we might have a different support from we might have support from government agencies and other things. And in threats, like big corporations with deep pockets might pitch in. So that is a big threat from for us. And apart from that, greenwashing creates a negative impact on consumers. So we might they might see us also in the same light. So that is one of the threats. Now quickly going through the next slide. Yeah. So like there are some constraints in the verticals we are working, like in textile vertical. So in textile vertical, since their product margin is very less, so what they do is that they're more cost conscious rather than environmental conscious, or rather than trying to create sustainable products. So that is one of the concerns. Also, there is not much lack of differentiation. So we have to look at all these constraints while deciding. In the next vertical, like in paper and pulp and paper vertical, so adoption cycle is large, like close to 4 to 6%. So that is something which we might have to look in. And also orders are more based on performance. So that is also one of the constraints. And in consumer products, so what happens is like building a consumer brand, especially in product in FMCG kind of thing, we require good amount of cash. So that's why we are looking for investment. And when we started, the sales was quite good, but no, it has stagnated in last few times. So that is something which needs to be seen. Sharath, the next slide. Yeah. So the problem statement, like expansion is needed as of now, but company is staring at cash crunch. So that's why we are looking for investment opportunities. And also when we look at the addressable market, in one vertical, we have exhausted almost more than 50 to 60% addressable market, while in other, we still have to address almost 84% market. So, there is contrast between what one vertical and another vertical is. Also, we recently entered into the consumer product. So initially the growth was decent, but it has stagnated a bit after that. And like there is a dilemma between whether to go for financial investors or strategic investor for fundraising, because for expansion we need funds. Like we can't go with profit, whatever profit we are having. For strategic investors, they come with their own perks, but like they are demanding 51%. So that is something we have to keep in mind. Also, we don't want the shares of our partners and ESOP holders to go below 35%. So keeping in mind all these constraints, we have to decide. So Bhanu will take us through the next slide. Like these are some of the key deliverables that we are seeking, and we'll like to answer these questions with time. Yeah, Bhanu, you can take over.
Yeah. So share the next slide. Yeah, so we are defining the textile chemical market here. So from the projections which were given to us in the case, so we can see that the industry is growing. The specific pre-treatment industry was growing at a 7% annually. So based on those projections, by 2027, we'll have approximately 54.53 crores in revenue. And assuming an annual average growth rate of around 7.6% of the entire industry, we are expecting a revenue of around 115 crores. So the assumptions we made while calculating these revenues were, obviously all these revenues are for the Indian market, and also we are assuming that the growth rate of the industry is the same as the addressable market has the same growth rate as the industry growth rate, and also the projection. Yeah, you can go to the next slide, Sharath. Yeah, coming to the pulp and paper chemical market. So here, as we have already seen that we have a very like this is a very we have very niche products over here, and then there is a lot of scope for improvement. And then as you see in this pigment binders and dyes, we pretty much don't have any, at least for the projected values, we don't have any revenue. So our strategy was to get in new products into this market. And then as we see, we have almost projected around 1,500 crores of revenue by the end of 2027. And the industries are growing at a rate of around 3.8%. So yeah, Sharad, you can go to the next slide. So yeah, so our strategies to achieve this target, which we have projected on the B2B verticals, is given here. So yeah, the first one would be that we'll follow a below the line marketing strategy, then going with the hardcore marketing strategy. And also we like say textile industry, it's the big the trade exhibitions. So that'll be one of our key lookouts. And then coming to the digital marketing side, we need to have a very informative website, since like we need to be very specific about what exactly our goals and strategies. And also planning a door-to-door sales campaign. Um, yeah, and then okay, and another thing we had to consider was to reduce the manufacturing costs and the overhead costs, which eventually we are doing it, but it can probably be improved to a better extent. And also third degree price discrimination. So this is something which we can consider charging premium for the customers who are willing to pay for it, and that's something which works in this niche industry. Yeah, Sharath, you can go ahead.
Uh, yeah. So coming to the consumer product market, so these are the projections that have been given to us, and the projection, as per the projections, what we can predict is that in the first year we will be going under a loss in the online segment, whereas in the later stages we are predicting a profit. And similar, when we come to the offline stage, in the first 3 years, we are predicting a loss. And then in the later 2 years, we are, predicting a profit again. So this is the same data that has been provided to us in the case. Coming to the next strategies to achieve these. Just a minute. Yeah, so the strategies to achieve the results that have been that we had predicted in the consumer product segment is that there are four categories that there are four different categories that we have listed here. One is creating awareness, catering to the needs, and third is initial onboarding of the customers, and fourth is the increased adoption. So to create awareness, what all the marketing strategies we can adopt is we can have the ad campaigns. So since the consumer market is all about creating the brand value, it has we have to spend a lot on creating the brand value. So for that we have to spend a lot on ad campaigns in the and that too in the regional languages. We can even make it more seasonal. I mean, we can relate it with the festivals, since people in India are more, they have more connect with the festivals. So we can have these ad campaigns related with the festivals. So we'll be able to connect more on that over there. And we can also, promote our products on the OTT platforms and social media. And or we can also integrate with the with various the web series. we can integrate our products with various web series. So that even creates even more impact. The third is the digital marketing strategies. We can have the SEO, SEM strategies. And the fourth one is the sponsoring of public events. So these public events can be related to the sustainability events or something related to that. We can work on that. The second one is catering to the needs. So over here we have to create awareness about sustainability. So we can have these seminars and other areas where we can spread awareness, and we can educate people about how we can how important is sustainability, and how important is the environment how important it is to use the environment friendly product, the non-toxic products. The next is the reducing of hurdles. I mean, it's what we see here is we have to make sure that these products are available at the customer end. I mean, it's not just about promoting and creating awareness. These products should also be available at the customers for the customers to purchase. And the third one is the creating of trust. So it's really important for us to create trust rather than just promoting and creating awareness. It's also we have to work on the product. It's not just about promoting these products. The third is initial onboarding. For that, we are planning to have a competitive pricing, and the other schemes that we plan to offer is the lucky scratch coupons with rewards, and we can have various other offers and stuff for attracting the customers. Since this is a low involvement decision that is being made by the customers, we have to plan it very carefully. The third is increased adoption. How do we make our customers purchase these products again? So we can have these loyalty programs. We also have a plan to open our own stores, so these so we can have these loyalty programs at the company owned stores only, and we can create brand merchandise products just for the creating popularity, and creating community pages, which is a very important thing because we need to understand the feedbacks and what people think about our products. So these pages must be very active, and we also need to take feedback from here, and we need to reflect on that, and be a part of sustainability initiative. It's it's we can take upon any initiative and promote that initiative. So that is one of the things that we can do. And also we plan to position ourselves as a mass market brand rather than a niche segment. So yeah, so the other thing is these are household products. So we intend to target women, and for doing that, it's all about emotional connect and the trust marketing, wherein we direct a marketing strategy for human connect. I mean, we can plan something related to that, and also these are all detergent products. So these so cleaning. So basically, we are into the cleaning stuff, cleaning products, right? So we can relate all the ads must be related to that, and it has to be focused on that. And we can associate our these products with the icons who are with the woman icon who are already associated with any green projects or the sustainability projects. This will help us in creating more impact. And also we can go and we can interact with women, and we can also take feedback and also share their experiences, and we can add their testimonials on our websites and stuff. So that will help us in creating in promoting our brand. So the next is how do we create awareness and education? So these are some of the steps that we plan to take. That is, we can have a social media campaign, as mentioned earlier, women-centric ads, collaborate with EduTech, and leverage e-commerce platform wherein we can promote. I mean, we can put on ads over there since we are already selling it on Amazon and Flipkart. So these so these platforms we can help us in promoting and adding onto the sales. We also have a plan to have regional language ads, and the other events we can be a part of is the it's just an example, corporate green tea pe charcha, just chai pe charcha. That's something similar to that we can have, and the others is the CSR initiatives that we can take. So this is about creating awareness, and Aditya, you can take over from here.
Yeah, thank you, Sharat. So now the most important thing is like which which kind of investor to go, like financial investor or strategic investor. So carefully analyzing different situations, the situation in which we are in, we have just gotten into a new segment like customer product segment. So we need a strategic partner or strategic investor which has a good distribution channel and which can help us through their experience and other things. And we also don't have to wait for different new distributors to pitch in. So that is one of the most important things. Like it is very important at this juncture. What we felt is that no, like in big FMCG giants, they buy big stakes in small companies to help them over. Like suppose a company like Boat. So suppose the company like Bose, they buy strategic shares of the sort of 50-51% or even less. So they might benefit with the distribution channel of their own, distribution channel of Bose. So that might help them in future. And also for eco-friendly products, we need a big umbrella company to win the trust of people, because people, there have been a lot of greenwashing by different companies. So people are getting skeptical about different green products. So we might have to do that. And how to achieve that? There are shares of the previous investors and also ESOP holders. Apart from that, the partners are holding currently 48% of shares. So we'll be diluting the shares of partners and ESOP holders, and at the same time also, and I mean, will also dilute the shares of investors to a bit to 10 to 12%. Like we will of the 51% we will finance 41%, close to 41% from investors, and by the rest 10% by diluting the shares of partners and ESOP holders. So Sharat, can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So based on historic performance of the company and the market and the performance of market and expected growth, we estimate that the company would be valued around 400 crores in 2023. But since strategic investors are paying 20% less than the financial investors, so we expect the valuation to be 320 crores. So also we are assuming that most investors are looking for an exit, and now we can use that part to help us with strategic investors. So as I said earlier, so we'll be giving 41% of equity from the part of our financial investors, and rest 10% we'll finance by diluting the part of ESOP holders and partners. Also by doing math, so it comes out that we'll be generating 163.2 crores in 2023. So that will help us with different functions and expansion. Also, since we are into product segment, we have recently come into product segment. So advertising is one of the major, we would have to incur major advertising costs, which is very important for FMCG products and other products in direct consumer segment. So that way we can do that. Sarath, can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So like we have calculated different, as given the data, we have assumed that we have to go 20 to, we have assumed that the growth required in advertisement, like we have to assume that 25% of revenue we'll use in advertising, because we just have entered the product, consumer product segment. So initially the advertisement is needed to, to take growth, to grow the company, and with profit, we'll try to reduce the advertisement cost. Like in online sales, we start getting profit by the year 2023 only. So that way, we start reducing cost by 2025. So we have taken the cost, advertisement cost in online sales to 15% by 2027, because the sales have the profit have more or less stabilized. But in offline, we go profitable by 2026. So we have not reduced the advertisement percentage of the revenue that we estimated, and that's why we are not diluting, and the net cost of advertisement after calculation comes out to be 48 crores, close to 48 crores. So, hello. Yeah. Yeah. So we have come to the end of presentation, and like, can you go to the profit, Sarath, can you go to the profit slide, the slide where we projected profit? Yeah. So based on gross margin percentage, we came to calculate profit. So as
Yeah,
I
time is
said
actually
during
up.
a
So
okay, okay, that's it, sir.
But
We are
go ahead
done.
and finish your presentation. Carry on.
Okay,
Carry
okay. So as I said during presenting my advertisement cost budget, so we go profitable in 2024 only in case of online products. So we start reducing advertisement budget by 2025 only. But in case of offline, we go profitable by 2026. So till then, our advertisement budget is more or less 25% of the revenue. So that way, I mean, a big chunk of our the investment that we have raised will go to advertisement only, because we have just entered the consumer product segment. So that's it. Thank you.
Team, I really liked it. Clean slides also, and
Yes.
I'm sure that SKG and Vardhini ji will talk about the data points. I'm sure about that. But I want to understand certain things from your, first of all, a few comments. When you start the presentation on your first slide, you should have the full name of the company.
Okay.
The PL was missing. So I think, just keep track of those things. And another thing is, I normally say this, your role is of a consultant. So you need to, be in the mode of presenting your findings and recommendations rather than taking the ownership of the company, in terms of what you will be doing. Those are few things. Coming to the questions, you mentioned about weaknesses related to consumer products.
Yeah.
But within textile and pulp, what are the weaknesses that you see?
Yeah.
Your SWOT analysis. You don't have to get the slide back, but just
Okay.
giving a reference to that.
Yeah. So, sir, in textile industry, like in case of our company, we have almost exhausted more than 50% of share, but we have not addressed, we have not reached a significant revenue till now. And also, we are yet to address large number of mills. So that way, we have yet to achieve the required amount of revenue based on our potential.
Okay. Sure. And one more thing is, you mentioned about problem statements, and it was very nice that you spent a good slide explaining that. You showed 6 different dimensions of that. But if I were to ask you that, can you sum up the problem statement in one line and also the solution in one line?
So the company is facing dilemma of which investor to choose from, because definitely they have to expand. So the main dilemma is to choose the investor which will help the company grow in consumer product segment. And we have decided we are recommending strategic investors to go for.
Okay. So since you're coming to that as a major solution, let me ask you something on that. You were saying that you will go for a strategic investor, and even in that slide you were mentioning about the idea being focusing on growth of the consumer products vertical, right? Yeah. So what measures you will take so that the strategic investor does not lose the strategic focus, let me put it that way, the strategic focus on other 2 verticals. You have got the textile and pulp. So what measures are you going to take to ensure that?
Yeah. So we will like project the growth that we are expecting in the pulp and paper segment, because we are expecting almost multiple times growth in pulp and paper segment, because we are yet to address 84% of market. So we will make sure that the investor looks at this thing, and he also feels he also is on the same page that okay, this segment also needs a large amount of attention, because there is a lot of unaddressed market. There's a significant chunk of unaddressed market, and also a lot of profit can be made, and which is also projected based on the data.
And also in the last 3 years, as Aditya mentioned, the growth percentage is more than 300%. The revenue sales numbers are growing at more than 300%.
Yes.
Sure. Thanks a lot. All the best to you all. And over to SKG.
No, I'll leave Bharti.
Okay, over to Bharti. Sure.
It was a good presentation. So ultimately, you answered, 2 or 3 of the questions that were posed, I guess. So you are saying that the consumer business is the future.
Yes.
Typically,
Yes,
it is
ma'am.
a high margin business and all
Yes.
that. Yeah, agreed. Taking off from where, Neil, ended. So the strategic investments, typically when you get a strategic investor, they wouldn't probably have expertise in all areas, although according to your projections or the projections given by us, those 2 sectors do have very good addressable markets and all that. You wouldn't get a strategic investor who would probably be, have expertise in that, number 1. And number 2, if consumer is going to be a really, really high margin business, why would they want to ride so many horses? I mean, what is the, risk that, I don't know if it's a risk, but what is, are you making a case for the company morphing into an entirely consumer products company in the future? That is my first question.
No, ma'am, we don't want to cannibalize on the other 2 segments. But coming to the consumer, we would be focusing more on the consumer segment, because that requires a more of brand building, since that is a B2C segment. So we would be targeting the investors who are more focused on the consumer segment, because that's where we plan, as mentioned in our slides as well. We plan to have an investor who can add more brand value. That can be so that the consumers can be made aware of our product.
Okay, so there is, you had mentioned, the company as a potential acquisition candidate. So we have seen practically, today, if you see the consumer segment, you have a lot of MNCs which are very well entrenched. And most of them off and on, they buy out the local companies. So that has been the scenario. Of course, if you had read, Marico's founder's book recently, he would have written there as to, how in a well-entrenched MNC market, he has been able to, run a truly Indian company. I mean, warding off all these takeover. So are you actually advising the founders as consultants, for example? Yeah, you do get a strategic investor and it is okay if you sell out.
Actually, ma'am, what we are looking for is that we are already experienced in pulp and paper and textile vertical, so that we can handle. We are looking for a strategic investor who can help us with consumer product segment. But if we talk about selling, so we are not into that. So we will try to keep the company with us only, not like looking for a buyout or sellout.
Okay. And the other point which I was, looking at your presentations, you've allocated about 25% for advertising and promotion costs, which I feel is extremely high, actually. So, if you see, even the big FMCG people, 12 to 15% is the maximum. And the smaller players, we do understand that they need to market and, sell their, make their products known, but their advertisement costs don't run into such high numbers as 25%. And if you see when markets like, even presently, if you see what's happening to consumer products, is that there is a slowdown in terms of, some segments of the markets. And the first place where people, do cost control is in advertising and promotion. So what made you allocate such a high amount for advertising and promotion?
Actually, we just entered the consumer product segment. So initially we thought that to build a brand, we needed a good amount of advertisement, and also we have started making profit. And also we took, we raised investment. So we thought of, investing 20-25% of the revenue, not the investment that we raised, the revenue that we are generating into advertisement. And also you can see that once profit started getting stabilized, we brought back the advertisement budget to 15% in the fourth or fifth year in both the online and offline sales. So we kept 20 to 25% only in initial 1 or 2 years, and then we started reducing the budget.
But at the end of the day, don't you think this is a really niche product and it's not a mass product? So you may not be able to scale so much, even if you spend so much on advertising.
Ma'am, we feel that green products are future, because the youth, especially the Gen Z, they are getting more and more aware about green products. And also, if you look at CSR activities of different multinational companies, so they are also looking towards sustainable products, and different different conferences, international conferences, and like just now the G20 meeting. So there are also there are also the discussion around the green products or sustainable development happened. So with the degradation of environment, the sustainable product market is only likely to increase. So we are trying to bet big on this, and these are only initial years, and once we started getting profit, we'll look at if we can even scale further or we can scale down. So currently we are betting big on this.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All the best. It was a good presentation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Presentation. Nice job. I have certain questions. First question is that, do you guys practice? Did you guys did you run a practice on this presentation?
So to be honest, we didn't get sufficient time for the practicing, but yeah, we did do a sufficient amount of research.
You must understand, consultants, when you're going to the front of the board, you should be very clear, because
so we did practice, but
we could see some struggle in a couple of you, but that's fine. Next time on this, don't worry about negative marking in this. Just
yes, sir.
Piece of input for you.
That is a big learning, sir. We will take that into our stride.
Yes, definitely.
See, the initial slide, if I'm not mistaken, when it's talking about textile, you mentioned something about the international market is where they have been losing a lot of money. Am I right? Please correct me if I'm wrong. The problem statement.
So we are selling our products to US and European markets currently.
Yes, sir. What we told that is our product is more susceptible to recession in US and Europe. So once recession starts there, then we get affected. So
no, that's my understanding. I wanted to be clear. No problem. See, after that, when you went to the strategies, again you talked about going to global market. You understand where you made the decision. See, you're talking of recession, you're talking of what is happening in the global market, and then you are also giving a strategy of going back to global market.
No, sir, actually, we mentioned that we would first focus on Indian market.
Yes.
Okay. That is going to be my last question, because nowhere you have mentioned which market you are going to focus on and why. You never compared against international market, and nowhere you are told us which market you are going to focus on. Okay. Now, in a B2B segment and a sale, do you think a door-to-door campaign is workable?
So door-to-door, as in we can approach.
I'll take that. I think it was a mistake, and we just misplaced the statement that had to be in the B2C, I guess. So yeah, so that's the reason I had to cut it short.
Be careful on that part.
Yeah.
With regard to consumer product and the strategies, again, you wanted to open your own stores, right? There is a cost involved, opening your store, setting it up, etc. Have you really thought about it before you worked on your Excel?
Sir, actually, they are also having currently also they are having stores of their own.
Okay. Are you saying that you are going to utilize the same space for your consumer product, or you are going to open new stores?
Sir,
use the word new store. That's reason.
Yes, sir. We will open new stores, but not discriminately, indiscriminately. Like we will be sustainable in opening new stores. we'll focus more on different distribution
Fair
channels,
enough.
but
Fair enough.
we'll
Well,
also open some stores of our own so that the customers who are regular customers of our own, they also get our merchandise products and other things that way.
but have you taken that cost into account when you work your P&L?
Yes, sir. Actually, we did. So, once we started getting revenue, so the major cost we incurred was more of the advertisement and the product and overhead cost. But the cost that we are talking about, we focus like in every city, like in Chennai, in Bangalore, or in Mumbai, we would open 1 or 2 stores at max. So
So
that
also
way,
this we are going to do as and when we are going to have more number of products, not in the
yes,
near
sir.
future.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Right. See, this is where the clarity comes in when you explain it. Great.
Yes.
Now, Vardhini was also asking this question with regard to, are you going to sell out the organization, right? Now, one of the slides you said that you would like to use the umbrella of a bigger group to sell your consumer product. You know what would happen? Let us presume, hypothetically speaking, you're going to use Unilever as a company, which is going to sell your products. Do you think Unilever, first of all, will do that? Assuming they do that, you are automatically selling your company.
No, sir. Actually, what we were looking for is just their distribution channel and their strategic investment in stakes in our company. Like what happens is a big company takes a stake in small company, so that gives a positive message to the market. So that way, that was what we were looking for.
I understand from where you're coming, Aditya. The point is, what is going to be the future for your company? You got to think about it. See, for example, I am a bigger organization and I have a name already in the market. I'm going to invest with you.
Yes.
Right. Over a period of time, what do you think I will do? Assuming your products are good, as a kind of moment which I can see, what do you think I'll do?
You will try to buy more stakes so that you can control the company, but we would not like to dilute the stakes so that we would sell our company. So
do you know that's going to be a huge challenge for you?
Yes, sir. It is going to be challengeable, but we would take that.
Okay. Right. The last one is again advertisement cost. I was again going to ask the same question which Artini asked. But you said 2025 only you're spending 25%, right? So 23 and 24 you're not spending anything.
Sir, we are spending.
How much?
Sir, 24, like 25% of our budget in initial few years, and then we will scale down to 15%.
So when you say 25%, you're talking about 25%, 23, 24, and 25.
Yeah, of the revenue.
Continuously. Why 25% for 3 years?
Because we are still in the loss in those 3 years, and like we are thinking of more advertising so that we could get out of the loss and like build a brand after that. So that way, like there is a catch 22 situation. Like when we start getting lost, so what we think is we start cutting on advertisement costs advertisement costs majorly. So what we are focusing on is like that. We would not cut advertisement costs. Instead, in initial years, we would focus on brand building. So that way we won't cut on advertisement costs until we start getting profit. So we can, like, also the revenue is not much. So 25% of 2 or 3 crores is not very high. So we are focusing on the revenue part, not the investment we got, but the revenue that we got in that year. So
when you're launching a new product or a new vertical for a company, 20% is a huge amount. You have to understand that first thing and foremost is you need to understand why the market is not moving, why you're not able to sell the product. It's the advertisement alone does not sell a product. Yes, it helps. I'm not saying no to it. But the point is that alone is not the good thing. The other factors are there. So anyway, that's okay. It's only a thought process. I understand your thought process. Great. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Job. All the best.
Team, and all the very best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
team.
you, thank you, madam.
Team, you did well. You managed to defend your position well. Though I think you intend to spend 25% of your revenue on advertising, it's going to be extremely high. I don't think any company spends that kind of money on advertising.
And the person who's telling you is from the newspaper.
we won't mind if you spend so much on advertising. If it comes to us.
Actually, we understand, like a newspaper costs around 20 to 25, 20 rupees around, but we get in 3-4 rupees because of advertising only.
Right.
Is it right, sir?
No, we've hiked our prices too.
Okay.
10 rupees.
Okay.
And my Sunday edition
yeah,
goes
yeah,
very
yeah, ma'am.
well.
The
Yeah.
Hindu is there, but no, normal Hindi newspapers we get.
Yes.
So,
But what
Sorry,
we,
sorry, Vinay. Just one advice to you. What
Yes.
you did was 3 slides. You are making a presentation on marketing strategy. You could have avoided. You could have avoided 3 slides, had 1 slide, and then you could have focused on numbers per se, which we could have discussed on that more.
yes, sir.
Right.
For the future, you see, just remember.
That is
Sure,
still,
sir.
but
Because marketing comes after you get the contract.
yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah, it's all boils down to the time we had at hand. Like we just had a midterm just a day back, so we really couldn't do that much of a number crunching. So eventually, yeah,
so do you find the case challenging?
yeah,
Yes,
it was
sir,
quite
Yes,
challenging.
sir.
it was challenging, but we
It
enjoyed.
was.
But we enjoyed solving the case.
So have you all come to B school with some WorkX?
Yes, sir. I have
Okay.
2.5 years of work.
Can you come again? Like,
Which sector did you work in?
I was working for an IoT firm in Mumbai.
Okay.
Yeah.
no.
And you want to
So-
switch tracks after your MBA.
Yes, that's what I look forward to
Right.
into the consulting.
Okay. What about Aditya?
Aditya, you have any WorkX?
I think
Yes,
his
sir.
his
Sir,
internet
I could
has.
not hear your question.
I asked if you have any WorkX before you joined B school.
No, sir. Like, I was preparing for UPSC exam for a couple of years and then moved ahead to pursue MBA.
Okay. You're probably in a better place. Right.
Yes, sir.
And what about Mr. Reddy?
Yeah, I have around 1.5 years of work ex in manufacturing. So
Manufacturing. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
it's basically R&D and manufacturing both.
Okay. Where did you work? Where did you work?
It was a startup. It was a electric vehicle startup.
Oh, okay. Right. Cutting edge.
Yeah.
Good. Right. All the best to all of you and in your
Sure.
careers, and you may log off now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Team 1. We have a special education AV from Aditya Birla's Sun Life Mutual Fund.
Life is like cricket. When you get thrown a googly, how you bat is the difference between hitting a 6 and getting out. A simple example of a googly in life is your laptop crashing while you're working on an important business presentation. If you're smart and prepared, you should have your files backed up on the cloud and should recover from this loss quickly. If you are not prepared, you will have lost years of work. A complicated googly is the 2020 pandemic that shut the world down and disrupted businesses and economies globally. If you already had an online business module or quickly added one, you continued to work like normal. If you didn't, you probably struggled. As organizations, as employees, we try to plan for unexpected situations that could disrupt work. But as an individual, are you prepared to handle googlies like a medical emergency, a natural disaster, a recession, or another pandemic without draining your savings and generating a mountain of debt? If your answer is no, then it is time to set up a contingency fund that can handle life's googlies. What is a contingency fund? Like the name suggests, it is a fund that may help you survive in an emergency. A contingency fund may give you breathing room if your salary isn't paid or if you lose your job. You may not be stumped on how to pay your child's school fees, utility bill and EMI, or worse, if you can put food on the table. How does a contingency fund help in these situations? Well, a good contingency fund is seeded with 6 to 9 months' salary. Do not panic. Yes, that's a lot of money. But you don't need to have it today. You will accumulate it slowly over time. All you have to do is stay committed and only use the fund for true emergencies. This means no spending it to upgrade your phone when it still works or using it to fund that spontaneous friend's trip. How to create a contingency fund? Think of a contingency fund as a systematic investment for unexpected situations. Step 1. Set up a contingency fund account. It can be a savings account, a liquid fund account, or any other type. Just make sure it is relatively safe, easy to access, and separate from your regular savings account. After all, you don't want to spend it accidentally. Step 2. Set achievable targets. When you are playing a match, you don't reach 400 runs on the first ball or even the first over. You keep your team motivated by setting smaller targets that will help you achieve the desired outcome. Similarly, set yourself smaller targets. Once you reach it, raise the bar higher until you have collected at least 6 months' salary. Step 3. Make your contingency fund a part of your financial plan. Analyze your existing income and expenses and find areas which can be tightened to give you a winning outcome. This should ensure you aren't struggling or forgetting to meet your targets every month. Step 4. Set up an automatic systematic contingency fund process. Start an auto debit to transfer your budgeted amount into your contingency fund account. Remember to increase the amount as your salary and expenses grow. Step 5. Replenish your systematic contingency fund. Every time you dip into your contingency fund, make sure you replenish it. This will ensure you are financially prepared to take on the next emergency, if any. Follow these steps with an aim to build a fund that could sustain your quality of life during an emergency. Start today and aim to be prepared to manage any googly that life may bring. An investor education and awareness initiative of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
I invite Team 2 to present their case solution.
Everyone, my name is Megha Pare. Me and my team, Aditya Piyush and Shubham Jaran, are going to be talking about the case and the strategy that we have curated for the given case. So moving on, Aditya will be focusing on overview as well as mission and SWOT analysis of the company. Over to you, Aditya.
Thank you, Megha. So overview of the company. Environmental Technology Private Limited. This company started in 2012 and it has 3 major segments, which are textile verticals, consumer-based verticals, and paper and pulp verticals. This company is recently being shifted towards EBIT positive. It has developed a unique technology through which it develops 100% biodegradable products. Paper and pulp verticals were started in mid-2018, whereas this consumer-based product vertical was started in 2021 and 2022. It has also acquired Green Pro certification for its products. Moving to our missions. Our mission is to become a market leader and provide solution for all these product segments through our 100% biodegradable eco-friendly products. So the SWOT analysis of our company are as follows. The strength. It has unique products like the paper and pulp vertical got the first mover advantage. It develops new product for the market. It's cost effective. As stated in the case study, 15 to 20% are the only price increased from other industrial products, which are double the price of the biodegradable products. And it is environmental friendly as well, as the surfactants were developed and it created 100% biodegradable products. The weaknesses of the company are lack of funds. Already the company has acquired in the starting 3.5 crore was the fund raised for starting the company, and again after the 2015 flood the fund were raised. So lack of fund is a very basic weakness of the company. Lack of awareness among consumer and technology concerns in textile verticals are also few of the weaknesses. The opportunity of the company is it can go global. We can focus more on Asian markets, and because 25% of the product total potential are already exhausted in Indian market. And the threat of the company is the recession. As mentioned in the case study, when recession comes in Europe and America, it faces a downfall. Besides, it's stated in the India, but recession of the European market also affects it. So now I'll hand over to Megha.
So, sir, I'm going to be talking about the strategic goals in terms of textile, pulp, and paper, as well as consumer brand products. Now, talking about the textile vertical, as we know that there is a little differentiation, and the end sensitivity users to price is pretty low compared to the intensely competitive industry. So the majority of the profits were shared by middleman as well as the distribution channel, and there was a disproportionate share among the environmental technologies private limited. So the export focused mills only produced like around major brands, if they were dealing with major brands and environmentally concerned enough to actively promote sustainable products. However, other people should not be forced to pay any price at all just to be sustainable. Like Indian mindsets, if we can get some products in at a low price, why would we choose the sustainable options? So that was a huge drawback for the environmental technologies private limited. Now coming to the other parts that the recession Aditi talked about, the recession that is coming in US as well as Europe had a direct impact on India as well. Even if India is not facing the recession, we know that the economy of India and economy of USA and Europe kind of walks hand in hand. So we had to focus on that aspect as well to see if the recession, if we can find some buffers to eliminate and mitigate the risk that we'll be getting from the recession of US and America. So we thought of focusing on the Asian countries or the parts of the world that is still untapped compared to textile vertical, and broadening our horizons in India. Now coming to the paper and pulp vertical, we had the first mover advantages as Aditi talked about. So we thought of investing and getting funds for the R&D department so that they can focus on the potential products that are still untapped and are still not innovated, and focusing on that 25% potential products that have been exhausted in India, to take it to global level and targeting the Asian countries instead of America and Europe, and seeing that if the Asian countries are giving the positive response towards our products or not, so that we can have a broad idea that will our products be fine in the US and America and Europe market or not. Now coming to the consumer products vertical, we thought of staying in India only because India has around 60,000 crore market in consumers products vertical, and we thought of making more products. Currently, we have 6 products in this vertical, so we thought of making new products, sharing some funds with the R&D department, and trying to innovate some new products that are still not available in India. And we thought of creating a advertisement plan, as we have Green Pro certificate. It's a big plus point for our company. So we thought of advertising it. We thought of making a marketing plan. In terms of that, we can advertise the Green Pro certificate, and we can tell those people in India that how a company is better than the other products that they're focusing on. And we know that paper and pulp vertical and consumer products vertical, the cost of our 100% biodegradable products is kind of only 15 to 20% high as compared to the normal products. And if you're talking about the chemical substances, they are pretty high as compared to the normal products. It is the double the rate in the market. So we can focus on that aspect as well. Now coming to the strategic plan, what we did was, in the first textile vertical, as I said, we'll be targeting different countries in different continents, except Europe and America, to see if we can create a potential market there and we can sell our products there. Second, we thought of strengthening the R&D department to reduce the product adoption cycle time, as we know that it takes around 2 months from the initial stage to the commercial stage. So we thought of innovating a product such way that we don't have to show that a product is kind of requirement, or it's kind of the low as compared to the bar that was set by the government. So our R&D department is going to be focusing on that aspect. Now talking about the paper and pulp vertical, So we'll be investing in the technology and R&D department to remove the variability of the market. As we know, the raw materials are given by the distributors and they fluctuate. And our technology that we are using to create a surfactants is comes from US. So we are thinking of making our own product, our own unique seed base, so that we don't have to rely on the US economy as well as US product, and our R&D department can make it in India only. That will reduce our transportation costs as well as the taxes and tariffs and barriers that are being put by importing that good from USA. Now talking about the market, we are still covering only, now talking about the paper and pulp market, we are still covering only India, as we have exhausted the 25% potential. We'll be focusing on the Asian countries or the neighboring countries to see if they are kind of appreciating our product or not, and then we'll be thinking of going globally. So our 3-year plan is going to be focusing on the Asian market, and after 2 years, the broader 5-year plan is going to be going globally with our pulp and paper product. Now talking about the consumer brand vertical, we'll be focusing in Indian economy only instead of going global, as we still have a lot of untapped market in India, and it is kind of the biggest market in terms of FMCG. We have 60,000 crores a market still untapped. So we'll be focusing on advertising our product and telling people that our product is better than the normal products, and it is made from 100% biodegradable products and seed base, and the price is kind of competitive in terms of chemical based products. So we'll be advertising our product through different TV and print media to raise awareness. We'll be generating funds to new investors by giving maximum 60% to strategic investors. By now, we have 52% in the market. We have given the investors 52%. So we are thinking of shifting to new potential investors instead of going with the old ones, as we have to move on with the economy and we need to give the new investors a chance. And we will be using Green Pro certificate in our marketing campaign to highlight that we have this kind of profit as well as a competitive edge over the other products. And in India, only 72 companies have the Green Pro certificate by now. So it's kind of a biggest plus point for us in consumer brands vertical. Now, my other team member, Shubham Jadon, will be talking about the economical aspects.
So as the strategic plan that we have created, so it is economical for the industrial product. We are going to be global. So we thought of collaborating with the strategic investor, like taking back our old 52% shares from the other investors and giving maximum to the strategic investors, maximum 60% to the strategic investor, because they will provide us global exposure and the already existing infrastructure through which we can press the tactical buttons that we have discovered while creating our strategy. So we can press those tactical buttons on the flight so that we can improve our product quality and improve our sales. So we can say that it is economical to look for market abroad. As for the textile vertical and the paper and pulp vertical, we are going to look for the other Asian countries as well as the Europe and American market. Next slide, Megha. And also, as we have discussed, like should we go for industrial products alone or consumer products alone? So we have decided to go for both, because the consumer market is very big, as it is 60,000 crore rupees of market in India itself, and we are only starting in Chennai right now. So we can go for a consumer market, and the key challenge there was it is very difficult to identify the true eco-friendly product by the customer. So we can use the Green Pro certification there to make ourselves identifiable by the consumers, that we are the true eco-friendly, we are delivering the true eco-friendly products, and that they can get at very low price with respect to the competitors. And for industrial, we are trying to focus on the global markets, because we are ensuring the good quality. And in the paper and pulp industry, our 50% products are the first products which are available and which is of very good quality. And also we have decided to invest in the R&D department in paper and pulp vertical, because the key challenge there was the variability in the in the final product, and so we are not assurable of the performance deliverable. So after investing in R&D, we can give the guaranteed results to the customer. Next slide, Megha. The final thing is should we go for financial investors or should we go for strategic investors? So we have decided to go for strategic investors because they will give us the global exposure and provide the existing infrastructure, and also they can also help us with the further strategies. But we will go for the negotiation with them because as in the case given, the projection for the further 5 years, it is showing that our EBITDA and the top line is going to increase. So we will go for negotiation with them because they are demanding 20% lower valuation than the financial investors. But we will negotiate with them, and so that our valuation will get increased and we can get more funds. Next slide, Megha. So as I have discussed right now, like our top line is increasing, our EBITDA is growing at 10% in first year, then 15% in second, and 20% constant growth for the further 3 years as given in the case. So we can negotiate with them and get the funding from them, but we will maximum dilute 60% of our shares, because minimum it is given in the case that minimum we have to hold 35%. So we will target for 40% that we will hold, and maximum 60% dilution we will take, and using that funding we will further move on for our strategy. Thank you.
So do you have more details on your numbers? I mean, so we saw the slide, some more details, how you arrived at the EBITDA growth, how?
Yeah, so it was given in the case, the projection for the next 5 years was given in the case for the EBITDA and the top line. So we have used those numbers, like how much they are growing.
Okay, so you've not thought whether the numbers can be different based on a segment-wise analysis? Or...
No, we took those numbers to be true, and accordingly we derived the strategy.
Okay, all right, fine. And so the strategic investor, can you explain your rationale? You're saying they're going to be, the strategic investor is going to be from which industry?
Like we have to dilute 60% of our shares. So we thought of, like, we are in 3 industry: consumer products, textile, and paper and pulp. And also in the case it is given that strategic investors and financial investors both are ready to invest in our venture. So we will negotiate with those strategic investors that are available, but we will try to get better valuation because they are demanding 20% lower valuation than financial investors. So by showing these numbers and our strategy and the potential of our products, we will negotiate with them so that our valuation will be improved and we can get maximum funding that we can get.
Okay, so one last question I have. So if you're saying the projections have been taken, what is the solution you are giving actually? Because if the EBITDA is already going to be what it is, what is the solution you are giving?
We are the solution that we are giving is that using the funding that we will get, the challenges that are currently in the 3 verticals we have, we will focus on those challenges to provide solution to them, so we can improve those numbers more. Because if the numbers that we are showing, if an investor get the return that is much better than that, then in the future also we can get more funding if it is required. So we are mainly focusing on the key challenges. Like in the paper and pulp vertical, the key challenges, like the performance deliverable is not fixed because of the raw material quality changes continuously. So we will focus in that in R&D. And in the consumer products, the key challenge is that consumer, the user of the product is not able to identify which eco-friendly product is true. So for that we will use the Green Pro certification in our advertisement, because it is very big market and we are entering into the B2C domain. So in the initial advertising is also a very expenditure thing. So we will use those funding to advertise by the method that through which we can show them that we are the true eco-friendly, we are offering true eco-friendly product, and that too at a low cost than the other alternatives.
So but what is being missed here is, depending on the solution you provide, the EBITDA growth will vary. Right? See, you are giving a solution, so it can't be the same EBITDA growth that you're saying you've taken, right? The projection.
Yeah, it is the minimum. Like the minimum, the projection right now is this. But after the addressing the key challenges that are also there, we can also improve further.
Yeah. So what would be required to conclude this is, what it will be with these solutions. Okay, yeah. So that's the feedback I wanted to give. I'm done. So.
Okay, Neil.
I think decent presentation group, and you said about global recession and what would happen if that happens. Let me just pull that string along and say that if there is an impact on India as well, India market, and there is a sustained slowdown here, how do you see your projections to be impacted by that EBITDA and top line?
It is given in the case that due to the recession there is no direct impact, but because in the textile vertical we are exporting it to the American and Europe market. So for that to overcome that thing, we have decided that we will also expand our market in the Asian region, because there will be not much impact of recession as it is in the Europe and America. And the true fact is that there is a major portion of global market share that is available in these areas also. So we will try to expand in those areas also, so that we will not get much affected by the recession.
I would like to add one more point in Shubham's case. So if you're talking about textile industry as well as the Asian countries, why we are going to be targeting the Asian as well as other countries except Europe and USA is, if you're talking about the stats of India Brand Equity Foundation, that is a site by Ministry of Finance, they have said that for the textile industry, Europe as well as USA owns like around 45% of shares. And if you are going to be targeting the other 55% of shares, obviously we are not going to be getting the whole 55%, but we'll be getting some around 25 to 30% if we are going to be generous. So it is something that we can target except the US and America. Obviously we are going to be targeting the US and Europe sector, but we'll be targeting these sectors as well, so that if there is a recession and if there is a slowdown or a stagnant growth, we can get or generate revenues from that area as well.
Okay, and what about your India market if there's a slowdown in India?
So obviously in the Indian market, we can't back out because it's the main key focus that or the key area we are generating the revenues from. If there is a stagnant growth there, we'll be focusing on the advertising as well as the R&D department, so that we can get more products in the market, so and create some advertising branches, like something that acts upon the empathy. We can get the empathy from them. Obviously our product is 100% biodegradable. If you're talking about the COVID era, people shifted from natural products to the organic products, so we can target that segment. At the time of recession, obviously the growth is going to be low compared to the previous times, but we can target the advertising sector there.
Sure.
And
Thanks.
also I like to add one point, like in the future, as the people are also getting aware about the society and environment, so in the future they will also shift toward the eco-friendly products. So in the future we have more chances that our market will also increase in the Indian market, like the domestic market of our India. We can also tap their the potential areas, because the customers will also get aware about it. And we can also, like in the textile vertical, we can also collaborate with the small mills, because now they are not doing, because it is not cost effective for them. They have the other option, chemical products. But if the customers will demand for them the eco-friendly product, then they will also come to us, because we are providing that solution.
Even in a slowdown. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah. Good. You guys handled the questions very well. It's very nice. But my only surprise which I have was that Shubham and Mr. Hari asked you this question about numbers. You said that you took the numbers given in the case as to be true. But there is a clause which has been given in the case itself by the author of the case, by saying that he is not responsible for the accuracy of the numbers. So basically, the reason what has been given to you is so that you work on the numbers to work out a result, right? So when you're reading a case, please be very, very careful of what you're reading and what you're missing out. Second, this thing is which I want to tell you is you're talking about 60% which you are giving it, and using the 35% as a yardstick. Basically 60%, I'm having 40%. Again, in the case, there is something known as initial investors. Initial investors are holdings, shares within the market. So
52%.
there's very clearly the numbers also mentioned. So if you have taken that into account, then 60% is not a number which is going to be easy for you. Because you need to dilute the 35% out, which is going to be a challenge for you.
Yeah, but we thought like the 52% that is held by other investors, we will take that back and then issue those shares to.
Sorry, you will take that? I didn't understand.
We will take those shares back from the old investors and only.
Fair enough, but that if you had mentioned, it would have been much more clear. You have never talked about buyback. Like when you have spoken about buyback, you have taken it for granted that it's going to be buyback. It's only a suggestion it is given in the case. We're saying it's the time for a buyback, but how much are you going to buy back? What is the thing you're going to do? How you're going to work for? That is when you start working on numbers, guys. It is very easy for you to make a clearer picture to the board. See, you are presenting to the board, right? When there are no numbers, what happens is that we are only going by what you are saying, and we would have to visualize this is what is going to happen. Okay. Otherwise, it's good. Reason. Thank you very much. Wish you guys all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, team, for participating. Right. And so all of you have come into your MBAs with some work ex, or is it all, are you freshers?
We all are freshers, sir. I have worked in Accenture for 7 months, but then I decided to join BIMTech.
Okay.
I thought of pursuing MBA first and then going into the corporate field.
Good effort. Right. So all the best to all of you in your careers, and
Good luck.
so good luck, and you may log off now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Team 2. We have another special education AB from Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund.
Benefits of SIP, STP, SWP. Win with SIP. This is Sid. He recently started working and wishes to invest his money in the stock markets. But his salary isn't much, and he has only a small sum of money left to invest every month. While he was contemplating on what he could do, his elder sister Reena came to his rescue. An avid investor herself, Reena introduced him to the magic trio of SIP, STP, SWP.
Don't worry, you don't really need a large amount to start investing. You can invest as little as 500 rupees weekly, monthly or quarterly using SIP, that is Systematic Investment Plan in mutual funds. And before you wonder how it could help, let me tell you, a SIP has many advantages. 1. It lets you start small. And when you invest every month, you average your purchasing cost. So you needn't worry about timing the market. For example, let's assume you invest 500 rupees every month. Given the market volatility, the cost of purchasing a unit of a mutual fund will change every month. Say, in the first month, you may get 40 units for 500 rupees. In the second month, you may also get 25 units for the same amount and perhaps more in the next month, say 45 units. This difference in price averages out over time, giving you the best possible price per unit over time. 2. You not only make your money work, you also make time work in your favor by starting to invest sooner than later. 3. You also benefit from the power of compounding by reinvesting the profits earned from your investments in mutual funds. Let me explain. Suppose you invest 500 rupees per month for a year. In 12 months, you will have invested 6,000 rupees. Let's assume your money grows at 8% during the year. So, your investments will be worth 6,480 rupees at the end of year 1. Now, if you leave the entire amount invested in the fund and continue with your SIP, by the end of the second year, your investment would be 12,480 rupees. That is 6,480 rupees plus 6,000 rupees. But given the 8% returns, you would have earned a profit of 998.4 rupees. And this amount will continue to compound as as long as you stay invested.
This is quite enlightening. But sis, I have a doubt. When I get a bonus at the end of the year, how do I invest it? I don't want to take the risk of timing the market.
I'm glad you are catching on, Sid. You just need to be smart with your investments. You can park your bonus in a low-risk debt or liquid fund initially, and then set up a STP, that is a systematic transfer plan, which will transfer fixed amounts from this scheme to other debt and equity schemes regularly and give you all the advantages of a SIP. So you don't have to worry about timing the market. And while the SIPs happen, your money isn't lying idle in your bank. It is earning interest in debt or liquid fund. And just like a SIP, STP allows you to set the duration of your investment period. For example, if you get a 50,000 bonus, you can choose to invest 5,000 in a single scheme or 1,000 in 5 different schemes over the next 10 months. You can make this choice based on what goal you wish to achieve.
You have a solution for everything. I have one more question though. I can keep my investments going every month, but how can I withdraw, say after 10 years, without the hassle of timing the markets?
Well, Sid, this one is easy too. Let's assume you are investing for your retirement funds. Once you retire, you can turn your SIP into a SWP, that is a systematic withdrawal plan, and get a fixed income at regular intervals. So if you need 25,000 rupees per month to meet your expenses, you can set up the SWP to deposit 25,000 rupees into your bank account every month or 75,000 rupees every quarter. SWP gives you the flexibility to choose. A SWP not only aims to give you protection against market volatility, it keeps your money working for you. So, you see, when you SIP, STP or SWP, you aim to win on multiple levels, today as well as tomorrow.
An investor education and awareness initiative of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
I invite Team 3 to present their case solution.
So we start by the background of the case that was given to us, Environmental Technologies Private Limited, which is a company being the background of EPTL is that it has an advantage of being headed by 3 founders who have held CXO level positions in the past, so they have a lot of experience in the field, and they decided to go do something good for the for people, and so in this way they found a unique surfactant, a unique non-toxic surfactant which can be used in many different verticals, and they went for 3 verticals, majorly for 3 verticals that was given us in the case. So the first vertical was textile vertical. So the textile vertical, sir, has been the first vertical which the company entered, and sir, the EPTL has been known, ETPL has been known as a textile company for long, and so the benefits were that the export-oriented mills always considered are always environmental conscious, so they considered ETPL as a viable option. But the problems in this vertical that has been faced by the company are that the textile chemicals market are highly competitive and price sensitive. Plus, the domestic mills do not want to pay more for sustainable chemicals. There's a long adoption cycle, and so there is a big challenge for the R&D team to come up with a better performing products. So the inferences we drew from this this part of the case was that it was given that large part of the margin to the middleman. So if the company invest more, the output ratio would be less for the company itself because the middle would eat it. Next, due to the technology constraints, even in the next 5 to 7 years, the company would only be able to address 50% of the market. And so because the company is not able to take contracts from the domestic mills, they have to be dependent on export mills, and the export mills market is highly dependent on the market on the West, and there is a recessionary condition in the West. So market investment in this vertical is very risky for the company. Meet, you want to add something, or should I go on?
I wanted to add something to your point that the business unit has also projected that there is a recessionary condition in the future. The board is skeptical about this and is going to consider due diligence on the thing. So we are presenting a concept and idea as a solution. So the due diligence would be conducted by the board of the company further.
Okay, so the next vertical was paper vertical, sir. So the company entered it with a unique bleach product that not only reduced cost but also improved the paper quality, and that was a very pain point for many paper mills. And so, plus the company has a very large American European market to serve to. But the problems faced in this vertical by the company are so that the orders are performance based, and so they want a product that can replace what they are currently using, and the R&D team has been facing a problem in making a product that can actually replace it. And so the second problem is that the all investments to be done by the company in this vertical has to be bear by the company itself. So in order to set up a new unit, the company has to do the expenses and everything. So that is a problem faced by this vertical. And so the inferences we drew from this case was that so the company has a unique product and it can take advantage of it in this industry. So the industries are slowly and steadily becoming environmental conscious, and because the company has taken a front foot in this, so they can of course future can be theirs if they invest more in this segment. So there is an untapped small and medium sized mills in the packaging paper industry which the company has still not contracted with.
Also,
And so it is to, yes sir. Yeah, may
I
continue.
wanted to add another point that the trade receivables for this paper and pulp segment is 90 days. On an average, 60 days as the trade receivable. So basically, our payment would be received a lot more time, and we can get into a cash crunch also. The company doesn't want to get into a cash crunch and wants to hold some liquidity for the 6 months period if there is some issue, So basically, pulp and paper segment would cause a little bit pain if we are pursuing this sector.
And so the another thing is that this is too early for a company to consider entering the foreign market, as they are only exhausted only 25% of the Indian market, domestic market. The next vertical that the company is operating in is the consumer products vertical. So it is a very early. So the company has just entered the vertical in 2021, 2022. And but sir, the performance has been excellent because the company has earned 6 lakhs only through online sales, but the growth has stagnated. The company has a Green Pro certification acquired for its products, and so there's a positive image in the consumers online as well as offline. But so the problems in this that it is a highly competitive market in the consumer brands, and so there's low awareness in customers regarding authentic organic products and marketing gimmicks. So the inferences we drew from this product, sir, is that since the company has been able to make a sale of 1 lakh in the starting year from just online sales, that shows that the consumer want this, but they don't know, but they don't have the medium to buy it, or they don't actually they are not aware of about the product. And so the second inference is that they need to spend on marketing and advertising to make consumers aware about the eco-friendly products, because so it was given in the case that consumers are often bombarded by many emails that this is organic, this is authentic, but some touch and feel. So the consumers need something to touch and feel. The online sales stagnated because there was a lack of advertising, as well as there was a lack of touch and feel added to the product. So if the company goes to the offline segment, it can do wonders. And so there is a bigger market size than the other two verticals in which the company is currently operating. It has a market size of 60,000 crores, and that's it's for my meet. Would you want to add something?
I also wanted to say that the sales what was stagnated for the first year. So basically, the company has given a projection. The business unit has given a projection for the upcoming 5 years, which shows the promising figures in the offline as well as the online segment. Also, another thing is that we don't need to have any infrastructure established for foreign companies. First of all, we are exploring into the Indian segment also. So because of that, our cost would be reduced. Also, we can see that our company's EBITDA has just turned positive, and there is a good chance that we could continue this operation for furthermore also.
And so the last slide is that about the business plan that we have formulated. So the first business decision one would be for us to go to financial investors. As the company has already some expertise in the form of the three founders which have worked for so long, as well as they had acquired the when the growth stagnated, so they acquired a strategic support, and so going to strategic investors would be not so beneficial for the company. Meet, do you want to add something in this?
Another point that we already have an infrastructure ready into the country, and we are just exploring our country. First, we are exhausting the Indian market, so we don't need to go for global expansion. So we don't need any strategic investors. Also, the valuation they are putting is 20% less, almost 20% less, and they want 52% stake of the company. Even though we are exiting our initial investors, it's still a huge stake. Second thing is that first we should focus more on consumer product segment, because this is a promising segment out of the three verticals. So we can pursue this segment for the upcoming 5 years business plan. Also, the funds we would get from financial investors could be used more on the advertisement segment so that we could compete with the big chains. Sorry, you can add something.
Okay. Sir, like I said, sir, awareness is something that can boost the product sales. So if the company uses the funds that has been provided to it for advertising, like it has been mentioned in the case that company has not able to spend some like on advertising. So it has only done what to say, sales pitch in the Chennai metro, which got a good response, by the way. So spending more on advertising and making consumers aware that how choosing a sustainable product is more beneficial for the earth as well as for the human, is more sustainable for them. That can be done through advertising. Now the fourth decision is, sir, that we should first focus on Indian markets, because we have not yet exhausted the full Indian markets in the textile and the consumer industry. So if we can focus more on Indian markets, we can really, like, we should first do justice with our domestic market, then go for the
International markets.
International markets. And the last decision, sir, we took that the funds that we have been provided. So the R&D team has been facing problems in the textile as well as the paper vertical. So in the textile vertical, the R&D team has been facing problems regarding coming up with a new product or new strategy to differentiate the product. And the paper vertical, the R&D team has been facing problem in making people know that how their product is different and how they should adopt to it, how mills can adopt to it. So that can be done. And of course, on the answers, another thing that was not mentioned in the case, but we searched a little bit about it. You can say it as a research. That's the nothing was mentioned about biogas. Sir. So the company can really explore this field. Sir. Currently, biogas has been in high demand from the Indian governments, and currently the biogas sector has a 6.3 CAGR. So this can be really explored by the company, and which can prove beneficial for the company. Meet, you want to add something? Any?
No.
Okay. So this is all, sir. We will answer.
So do you want to ask any questions?
Very simple, neat presentation. It's very obvious that you. Who's that? The third person's name was mentioned in the first slide.
Yes. Actually, he's not well. That's why we asked him not to be present.
Was he a numbers guy?
Yes, we can say that.
The reason why I asked you is that the entire slide there is no numbers. Though Meet Mehta was talking about numbers, it's very obvious that you understand numbers. So you please understand that the presentation was neat, everything is fine, your suggestions were fantastic. But at the end of the day, where are the numbers? How much are you going to spend on advertisement? What is it that you want to do? How do you want to go about it? What is the market you are wanting to see? There is absolutely nothing for us.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's a very simple presentation which doesn't help a board to make any decision.
Yes.
Right? And why, what for, how? That's where we get stuck, right? The board members are looking, why do they go to the consultant? Because they're looking for from you.
Yes.
So the number crunching is very, very important.
Yes.
Right. Anyway, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hi team. Good effort. I would always start it on a positive note. So yeah, but just want to understand, did you all practice the presentation because you all had a problem with the slideshow
Flow.
mode and other
Yes.
things? You all had, right?
Yes, sir. Sir, there's one thing, sir. That actually, sir, we are in different villages, sir. Sir, our college actually, sir, does a VFS program in which we have to stay in different villages and explore the villages in terms of rural products and everything. So, sir, Meet is in Gujarat and I am in UP, sir. So that is where there was a little communication.
Okay.
Actually staying in a village in a Gujarat village. I am in UP village, sir.
Okay. Understandable.
Yes, sir.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So we why they
Sorry. Wait. In short, we wanted to say that there has been a communication gap between the partners because every one of us is in a different village across India. So there has been a huge communication gap for this thing.
Okay. I understand, Meet and Shaurya. Thanks for that. And in fact, with this information, let me ask you a different question that, we are the
Yes, sir.
members, and we would like to know, since you are in different parts of India in the rural area,
Yes,
if
sir.
our B2C
Yes, sir.
vertical, the consumer products, we want to do a rural penetration.
Yes, sir.
Right, rural penetration. What online and offline mode do you suggest? I think
Sorry, can I add something?
y'all can just switch off your cameras if that's eating your bandwidth.
Sir, I wanted to add something that first of all, when we explored the villages in terms of consumer products, we found that the popular brands are not being present in the villages because the price to quantity ratio they provide are comparatively less, and people in the villages would like to see the actual quantity they get when they are paying some price. That's the first thing we have observed in the village. The second thing is that the online penetration in the village is extremely low. So we need to focus on the offline sales, and we need to show some promising quantity in terms of that. So that would be our first point when we want to enter into the rural segment.
And sir, another point I would like to add, sir, is that the villagers actually first let someone else use the product and then use it.
Yes, the villagers are extremely
If
skeptical about using any new
some
product.
village and Pradhan, yes, sir. So sir, if there is something used by Pradhan and Pradhan actually approves it, that yes, it's a good product. Like sir, we are actually doing a demand water filter, and the first water provide was in Pradhan's place. It's been 1 month and the Pradhan has been complaining about how it is, how good it is. And now sir, suddenly there are 46 orders from this village, 64 households in this village, and suddenly 46 of them have ordered the same filter because the Pradhan has. So sir, there is one influential guy in a rural market. So if we can provide even a demo product to them, like even if you're providing a soap to them and they complement it, and make sure that they complement it to all the villages will adopt it, sir. So they get influenced very easily by someone who they look up to for
Is
decisions.
influential.
So
Is
that
an
is what
influential
I
person in
observed
the
in my
village.
village.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes,
I get your point. This was just an offshoot because since you mentioned about rural, I thought let me just ask you on that. But overall, do you think the objectives that the company has set out to, are they achieved or not?
Yes, sir. Basically, when we compared the top line and the EBITDA analysis year-on-year growth, so basically we obtained that the EBITDA is growing year-on-year. The percentage of EBITDA or the operating profit we are getting is increasing year by year. So basically, we are able to retain 25 to 26% from the year 2023 to 2027. So we can say that the objectives are achievable after some point, not from directly 2023. So in the 5 years, the objectives could be attained.
Okay, that's your view, right? Okay. And want to understand one more thing that you mentioned in the slides that it is known as a textile company, and
yes.
Can you tell me the two top action points that would help the company that would help the company to retain that image, at the same time create a positioning, desired positioning on the consumer products vertical.
So because the company, Meet, do you want to say something or should I continue?
No, you can continue.
Okay. Sir, in the textile industry, sir, the real problem is, sir, that the textile mills that are in the country are not sustainability, no cost. They're not considering something that they have to pay for. So, am I audible? So, hello.
Yeah, fair enough. You can go on.
Okay, sir. So, like differentiating our product in terms of like, so they can actually give free
Just two top action
products,
points.
like on a subscription can give. Sir,
Yeah,
provided to
just
one
two
mill
action points.
and yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So provided to mills and showcase performance company for leaf and textile. So provided to some mills and then project the performance to them where they can do.
Sorry, I'm not able
So
to
like
hear.
second act point is, so
Shaurya, not an issue. Your voice. Sorry, your voice is breaking, not an issue.
Yes.
Sir, we wanted to add one point, that the biggest action point we could consider is price to quality. So if you are offering the same quality on a lower price, consumers would directly come towards our brand, and we could retain a good brand image amongst the industry. That would be a biggest action point. And also another point would be a sustainability product. If we could convince our consumers that our product is comparatively sustainable to other products, and we are doing ecologically a help to the planet, so that would create a positive image of our brand in the industry.
Okay, sure. Thanks a lot. Good effort, team. All the very best. And over to Vardhini ji.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me? Sorry, I think there was a power cut, so
okay.
I lost a little bit of the conversation. Yeah.
So rural and urban problems are the same.
Okay, so so Neil has asked his questions, if I'm not wrong, isn't it? So
yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm not sure if Neil asked this, but is the team suggesting that we carry on with the textiles and paper parallelly?
No. We need to go more into the consumer segment comparatively. And since consumer market, first of all, we are exploring the Indian market, so we don't need any extra infrastructure to be established. And so we are going to financial investors. And after a 5-year business plan, if the consumer products is still profitable, we could pursue that, or else we could use some of the funds in the R&D sector for paper and pulp industry, as well as in the textile industry for further exploration.
Okay, you're saying that one of the action points that you suggested in your solution was to enhance R&D investments. So you're saying those R&D investments will also be plowed into textiles and paper because they want to keep, you feel that they can go on with it?
Yes. We could consider paper and pulp segment as well as textile industry to be profitable. So we first need to explore that how we can enhance our products so that we could be amongst the big competitors in the market. And so first of all, we are going into consumer segment. So we can't just neglect the other two segments. We could just give some amount or some proportion of the financial amount into their R&D sector to enhance the product. So if in the future we want to enter these segments, we already have a product established.
So you're suggesting from the funds raised, you would directly spend on advertising and on R&D, not on capacity expansion or more, not capital expenditure. You're suggesting the funds raised.
No. We would segregate the product. Some of the portion, like we could say 10% of the R&D amount, we could divert it into R&D sector, 60% of the sector we could go on an advertisement sector, because the consumers are not aware of the product. They are thinking, the board is also thinking that the product or the consumer sector team is giving a marketing gimmick instead of just showing that that's an actually sustainable product. So we need to create an awareness. Even we can see in the offline segment that the Chennai segment, the Chennai sector, or we could say the Chennai city got a really good sales. So first of all, we could start penetrating into the tier 1 cities to get an awareness of the product into the urban sector. And slowly we could penetrate into the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And we could gradually increase the expansion sector. First of all, we need to establish a safe brand image among the industry. We can't just directly expand into tier 2 and tier 3 cities without first exploiting the tier 1 cities capacity.
Okay, fine. Yeah, so it's a very neat presentation.
Yeah, see, I from whatever you guys answered for both Neil and Vardhini, you have really understood the entire thing, and you're able to, handle the entire questions and able to answer them. My suggestion to you guys, when you are like this, one of your Gujarat, one of your UP, and some different locations, when you're not able to communicate, all you had to do was just take the 5 questions that you're asked, only address those 5 questions. You would have, the presentation would have been completed. Right? That would have been much more easier for you rather than going with the company flow and everything. That did not it would have been easier for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, good presentation. Wish your friend was there, and I wish you had also shown us an Excel sheet, which would have been easier. But all the best, guys.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Good effort, despite the odds you have to contend with. Right. All the best to both of you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and meet.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for participating.
Thank you, sir.
You may log off now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Team 3. We have a special educational AV from Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund.
Nivesh Fables presents Choose Your Advisor Wisely.
There were 2 rabbits. Willy was the wise one, and Fred was not so wise. They were walking through a field and came upon 2 carrots. Fred excitedly rushed and picked up a carrot, but it was smaller than it looked. He was confused, so Willy said, "Judging a carrot by its leaves is not the right way." After walking for some time, they came across another set of carrots. This time, Willy chose the carrot first. Fred thought, "How come the carrot with smaller leaves is small?" Willy replied, "I do not judge a carrot by its leaves." For the 3rd time, they found 2 carrots again. Willy pulled out 1 carrot and offered it to his friend. Fred was still confused and said, "I don't know how you do it, but I guess you're just smarter than me." "Fred, I may have the wisdom, but I share it with others and help them benefit from it too. You're my friend, you trust me, and I want you to have this carrot." In real life, while making investment decisions, don't we all look for an advisor like Willy, who wouldn't just look at the leaves superfluously, but analyze, inspect, understand the investments thoroughly, and suggest the right one for us? Someone who we can trust our hard-earned money with. As they say, if you look for a financial advisor, look for someone with the heart of a teacher and the soul of a friend. Have you found yours? An investor education and awareness initiative of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
We will now have the comments for each team's presentation, followed by announcement of the winners for today's round.
Today we had a wonderful, presentations. Quite good attempt in terms of, given the constraints that they had, a good approach in terms of looking at the case studies, although a few numbers and would have definitely been good in terms of supporting the facts and also the recommendations, but definitely they had a good clarity, and I would congratulate each team in terms of the efforts, that they put in terms of presenting the case. So all the very best for each team, and I would definitely say congratulations to the winning team.
Had very good case analysis and understanding of the case too. The only thing is, irrespective of the constraints they had of location base, but still they were able to make a decent presentation. And number crunching is something which we always spoken about all these years, and that is something which is missing this time. Again, if number crunching was there, the clarity would have been much better. But still, without that, they were able to handle all the queries that we had raised, and which really gave a clarity to us about their understanding. Wishing them all the best.
So that was an insightful presentation, I should say, from both the teams which came for the Delhi round. And as the other esteemed members of the jury have indicated, the analysis was good, but a little bit of number crunching would have helped. Also, one thing is today's generation, I find they are smitten more by consumer sectors because they can see the brand and it has a front end. Textiles and paper being old economy sectors, probably, if ROI is good for an investor, that is more than enough. So probably a little bit of more analysis on that, provided they are giving a solution where they want to continue with those two verticals. Some more analysis on those segments would probably be warranted. Nevertheless, it was good, and there's always room for the teams to be better. So so today's winners will be the team which presented first, Team A, which is IIM Amritsar. Congratulations, and congratulations to the other team which also participated.
Thank you, Vardhini, for announcing the winners of today's round. So thank you to all the jury members for participating today, and also to the teams for having come on board.
Thank you for watching. This is Businessline on Campus Boardroom Challenge 2022.